I have awakened in thy shelter, oh my God, and it becometh him that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine
My
my
inner being, oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being
with the morning
with the
light.
morning light of thy face.
We got to do that verse again. I messed it up so bad. Illumine my inner being.
Oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor.
Now, I did tune, but I don't feel that I am in tune. So I'm going to check my tuning again. And while I'm doing that, I'll say good morning to everyone. Good morning to everyone in our Zoom stream, and good morning to everyone in Facebook land. And who's in our Zoom? I know Terry's there, but why don't you say good morning to everyone, Terry?
Good morning.
Good morning. I had to unmute myself.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Good
And
morning.
who is that? Who is that?
That
Sounds
was
like
Yuta.
you, Seth.
Good morning, Yuta. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Wonderful. Anyone else there that wants to say hello? Maybe they'll come in later.
I see a Pauline.
Good morning, Pauline.
Oh, good morning, Pauline. Good morning.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning.
We haven't always done this, and I like saying good morning and hearing people's voices. And I wish I could hear the voices of the. I know that there's a couple of people in our Facebook stream. Good morning, and hello, Mike. How you doing? Mike's here in the room with us.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah. See, I got to tell you, folks out there.
Good morning, Jeremiah.
Good morning, Jeremiah. How you doing? And good morning, Daryl. How are you?
Good morning, Tony. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, but I just want you to know that we're very, very comfortable here in the room. If you wanted to come, I guess standards have changed anyway. It used to be if people were going to go to some kind of a worship service, at least in the Christian tradition, you had to get dressed all up, and I think some people still do. But now we come very casual, very casual.
Yeah.
Some people even take their shoes off, which is perfectly okay. It is wonderful. I like that sense of comfort. Yeah. So, Daryl, would you please do
Let's
us the
start with a
honors?
prayer. Okay. All praise, O my God, be to thee who art the source of all glory and majesty, of greatness and honor, of sovereignty and dominion, of loftiness and grace, of awe and power. Whomsoever thou willest, thou causest to draw nigh unto the most great ocean, and on whomsoever thou desirest, thou conferrest the honor of recognizing thy most ancient name. Of all who are in heaven and on earth, None can withstand the operation of thy sovereign will. From all eternity thou didst rule the entire creation, and thou wilt continue forevermore to exercise thy dominion over all created things. There is none other God but thee, the Almighty, the most exalted, the all-powerful, the all-wise. Illumine, O Lord, the faces of thy servants, that they may behold thee, and cleanse their hearts, that they may turn unto the court of thy heavenly favors, and recognize him who is the manifestation of thyself, and the dayspring of thine essence. Verily thou art the Lord of all worlds. There is none other God but thee, the unconstrained, the all-subduing. This is a prayer by Baha'u'llah.
Thank you, Daryl. Well, folks, as you know, last week we finished the previous book, uh, um, The Seven Valleys and the Four Valleys by Baha'u'llah. And I just want to, so today we start a new book, long story short. But this is the beginning of, well, it's another step in the journey. We're taking another step in the journey, and we have no idea when this journey will end. But I was telling Daryl, I was wondering once again, how many books have we read since we started using this format? And it turns out that this is our ninth book.
Yeah.
This is our ninth book. And I took the liberty of going through my own little home library and finding the books that we have done before, which I would like to show. Now, Daryl, I know you're going to be sitting there cringing because I'm taking time. Yes, I am.
I am not.
But we've gone through Baha'u'llah's teachings of spiritual reality. And this is not the order, though, but we've gone through the seven valleys and the four valleys, the advent of divine justice by Shoghi Effendi, the proofs of Baha'u'llah's mission, which to me is just an amazing. They're all amazing, but that for me on a personal level is just an amazing book. Paris Talks. Paris Talks, a series of talks by Abdul Baha, which was the first book that we did. Yeah. We also did Toward Oneness. That was one of the more recent books we did, Toward Oneness. Also, was this the book we did prior to Seven Valleys and Four Valleys?
Yes.
Baha'u'llah and the New
Yes.
Era. Yes, that was our most recent book before Seven Valleys and Four Valleys. And we also did One Common Faith. And, for those of you who have been with us through any of those, I don't know about you, but all of these are just such amazing experiences to read. But now we start another book. And after much deliberation, I actually had some people make some suggestions. I mean, from out there. I remember Pauline sent me a message suggesting the possibility of the Akdas, Katabi Akdas.
Yeah.
Olga also suggested that. Some others suggested the Katabi Ikan. And I will admit that Gleanings is still calling me. Gleanings is still calling me. But after some deliberation, I decided to go with some answered questions by Abdul Baha. And that's the way it's usually said, some answered questions. I was telling Daryl, I feel like we shouldn't say it that way. We should say some answered questions. Because there's a whole lot of questions. These are some of them. Some, but the fact that Abdul Baha gives us answers to a lot of spiritual questions, but also questions about just practical living. And so that's what this book is about. It's a 5-part book. It has more chapters than that, but 5 parts. And so we're going to go start this book today. And it's a bit lengthy. This particular edition is 305 pages. Daryl, would you like to predict how long you think this book is going to take?
No. Because I think it's going to take a while.
Yeah, I think it will
It's
too.
going to take a couple of months.
Now, I don't know if you ever gave you an answer. You had asked if we were going to do the foreword. I think we should. I read the foreword. And I think it gives, for anyone who's unfamiliar with the book, it gives them a good, foundation as to, what to expect in the book.
This
Publishers
version of
for-
the book that I have is 447 pages.
Oh, really? And
So-
mine is 305. Well, when I looked at that, I noticed. I think the print is a little. I think the spacing is a little bit more. Yeah.
Possibly.
So we're going to go ahead and look at the publisher's forward to the. This is to the 1981 edition. I don't know if we have the same edition. How does
I
that?
don't
The
think
publisher's forward in your book? How does it start?
This is 2014.
Okay, so it has the same. Whoa. Yours is a more
Yeah.
recent edition than mine.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Mine has the publisher's forward to the 1981 edition. I don't even know. I just made the assumption that it would be the same. How does that start? How does the forward start in that?
the spread of the faith of Baha'u'llah to the West.
Oh my goodness, no. Mine does not start that way. We
And it's-
discussed the book, but we didn't talk about this.
And it's several pages.
Ah,
So let's do your forward.
well, mine is several pages. Okay. Huh. I almost want to just read the preface to the first edition. But okay, publisher's forward to the 1981 edition. Can we know God? Is there a God? Can religious teaching be reconciled with scientific knowledge? What does it mean to be human? These are questions that were once considered exclusively the province of philosophers and theologians, but no more. In our time, they're public domain. Our distressed and bewildered civilization, cut loose from the beliefs and values that sustained it for centuries, totters on the brink of self-destruction. We, the individuals in it, experience loss of the meaning and purpose in life that our ancestors took for granted. Today, these questions beg for answers. Some Answered Questions addresses in a charming, succinct, and logical manner not only questions about God and the relationship between science and religion, but a wide range of questions certain to be of interest to the soul in search of religious truth, as well as to the inquisitive scientific mind. The answers come from Abdul Baha, son of the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, a new and independent world religion with followers in virtually every country. The answers were compiled from a series of talks he gave at table during 1904, 1905, and 1906. In each of the 5 sections of the book, Abdul Baha expounds questions ranging from the metaphysical to the matter of fact. On the other hand, he reaches into the philosophical realm to discuss topics such as immortality, predestination, free will, and the erroneous doctrine of reincarnation, always treading the mystical path with practical feet. On the other hand, he speaks to questions concerning I just missed a page here. Hang on. He speaks to questions concerning the organization of human society. Questions such as the problem of strikes, the treatment of criminals, and the proper relations between capital and labor, infusing these ordinarily secular matters with spiritual significance. In the opening section of Some Answered Questions, Abdul Baha uses both logical and traditional proofs to establish the existence of God and the necessity of divine educators or manifestations of God. He devotes several talks to the lives and accomplishments of some of these divine manifestations, including Abraham, Moses, Christ, Muhammad, the Bab, and Baha'u'llah, seeing each as a successive link in God's unfolding plan for mankind's education. Thus, he sheds new light on the religious history and on the nature of religion itself. Abdul Baha returns to the theme of the manifestations of God in the 3rd section of the book, where he elucidates in greater detail the character, station, and powers of the unique beings chosen to act as God's spokesman. In the 2nd section of Some Answered Questions, Abdul Baha presents the Baha'i point of view on a number of knotty Christian subjects, knotty being Knotty, tough Christian subjects, touchy subjects. He gives particular attention to the issue of the return or second coming of Christ. He also examines the birth of Christ, the resurrection, baptism, the meaning of the Eucharist, the miracles of Christ, and the Trinity in a manner that readers schooled in traditional Christian doctrine are sure to find startlingly fresh and illuminating. In the fourth section of the book, Abdul Baha considers the origin, powers, and conditions of man. The Baha'i affirmation of an underlying harmony and agreement between science and religion comes alive in his explanation of the origin and development of the human species. The book's fifth and final section is devoted to miscellaneous subjects, including discussions of the grounds of human knowledge and of pantheism. Some answered questions in style and structure is unlike Abdul Baha's other works. And then it goes on. I'm going to stop there because it does get into more about the histories of the faith, which we have covered in prior books and so forth. And so,
Sure.
I mean, it would take considerably more time to finish this section. But I wanted to read that much to, just kind of let people know what this book is about. And it comes in, each chapter is actually quite brief, but remember that it is in 5 different sections. And that being said, I'm going to stop there
Okay.
because there are several other prefaces here, and I don't think that they all need to be read.
Right. Okay. We ready?
I think we're ready.
All
Is
right,
everybody
sir.
ready? We're ready.
Part 1 on the influence of the prophets in the evolution of humanity.
Hmm.
The first section is called Nature is Governed by Universal Law. Nature is that condition or reality which outwardly is the source of the life and death, or in other words, of the composition and decomposition of all things. This nature is subject to a sound organization, to inviolable laws, to a perfect order, and to a consummate design from which it never departs. To such an extent is this true that were you to gaze with the eye of insight and discernment, you would observe that all things, from the smallest invisible atom to the largest globes in the world of existence, such as the sun or other great stars and luminous bodies, are most perfectly organized, be it with regard to their order, their composition, their outward form, or their motion, and that all are subject to one universal law from which they never depart. When you consider nature itself, however, you see that it has neither awareness nor will. For instance, the nature of fire is to burn. It burns without consciousness or will. The nature of water is to flow. It flows without consciousness or will. The nature of the sun is to shed light. It shines without consciousness or will. The nature of vapor is to rise. It rises without consciousness or will. It is therefore evident that the natural movements of all created things are compelled, and that nothing moves of its own will save animals, and in particular man. Man is able to resist and oppose nature inasmuch as he discovers the natures of things, and by virtue of this discovery has mastery over nature itself. Indeed, all the crafts that man has devised proceed from this discovery. For example, he has invented the telegraph, which connects the East and the West. It is therefore evident that man rules over nature. Now, can such an organization, order, and laws as you observe in the existence be attributed merely to the effect of nature, notwithstanding that nature itself has neither consciousness nor understanding? It is therefore evident that this nature, which has neither consciousness or understanding, is in the grasp of the omnipotent Lord, who is the ruler of the world of nature, and who causes it to manifest whatsoever he desires. Some say that human existence is among those things that have appeared in the world of being, and that are due to the existence of nature. Were this true, man would be the branch, and nature the root. But is it possible that there could exist a will, a consciousness, and certain perfections in the branch which are absent in the root? I'm going to ask the question again. Were this true, man would be the branch and nature the root. But is it possible that there could exist a will, a consciousness, and certain perfections in the branch which are absent in the root? Hence it is clear that nature in its very essence is in the grasp of God's might, and that it is that eternal and almighty one who subjects nature to ideal laws and organizing principles and who rules over it.
I'm having a problem here, Daryl. And the problem is
Your first chapter is something quite different,
no,
right?
no, no. Actually, I
Oh,
wouldn't got
okay.
it because the verbiage in the edition that I have is a little different, and it's still obviously the same meaning, but I think they've in certain ways kind of simplified uh, in this later edition. But that's not the problem. The problem is for me the clarity. How am I supposed to formulate deep questions when something is already so clear? I mean, but he does point out something to the. I mean, let's face it. This is something that has been, the subject of discussion many times. It will continue to be among people who consider themselves intelligent people. Uh, but look, some say that human. I'm looking at that next to the last paragraph. Some say that human existence is among those things that have appeared in the world of being and that are due to the exigencies of nature. And he says, were this true, man would be the branch and nature the root.
Root,
Okay.
yeah.
But then he asks that question that that you repeated. Is it possible that there could exist a will, a consciousness, and certain perfections in the branch which are absent in the root? And in this case, the root is, well, I guess you could say, I'm not sure if we would say the root is God or nature, but I'm assuming in this case it would be God.
Hmm.
Okay. Obviously, the idea of, let's call it auto creation, self creation. Man created themselves.
Nah.
No, we are the branch. And so it is clear that nature, in its very essence, is in the grasp of God's might. I do like the fact that Abdul Baha differentiated between nature and God.
Sure.
You know, I mean, the fact that he started out, saying basically that nature, it does what it's supposed to do. It has inviolable laws, perfect order, and to a consummate design from which it never departs. It simply does what it is designed to do. And so the intelligence, while it has intelligent design, the design is from God. I don't know. Can we mess up? Can we mess it up?
Yes, because there's a will.
Okay. Okay.
Because man has a will.
Yeah, free will. Uh, yeah. I could go on about that, but I will not. Do you feel like we need to move on to? I'll
Yeah.
admit that one of the challenges for me with some answered questions is the fact that we quickly move from one topic to another topic to another topic. I like the weaving of the other books where it's a little lengthier and kind of
Yeah.
yeah. But we're doing this book and we're sticking with it. So our next topic.
I'll let you read.
Okay, so we've just talked about nature being governed by universal law. Now we're going to look at the second topic, which is proofs and arguments for the existence of God. For those of you who question the existence of God, you may want to listen to this. For those of you who struggle with friends and loved ones who question the existence of God, you may want to listen to this. So, proofs and arguments for the existence of God. Among the proofs and arguments for the existence of God is the fact that man has not created himself, but rather that his creator and fashioner is another than he. And it is certain and indisputable that the creator of man is not like man himself, because a powerless being cannot create another being. And an active creator must possess all perfections to produce his handiwork. Is it possible for the handiwork to be perfect and the craftsman imperfect? Is it possible for a painting to be a masterpiece and the painter to be deficient in his craft, notwithstanding that he is its creator? The painting cannot be like the painter, for otherwise it would have painted itself.
Well, the first word there is no.
Oh, I missed no. I missed no. I'm going to take my glasses off because I'm having a. I'll admit I'm kind of struggling with the print here. No, the painting cannot be like the painter, for otherwise it would have painted itself. And no matter how perfect the painting may be, in comparison with the painter, it is utterly deficient. Thus, the contingent world is the source of deficiencies. Contingent world meaning the physical realm, the physical world. Thus, the contingent world is the source of deficiencies, and God is the source of perfection. The very deficiencies of the contingent world testify to testify to God's perfections. Think about that. That's an interesting sentence. The very deficiencies of the contingent world testify to God's perfections. We need to read on. For example, when you consider man, you observe that he is weak, and that this very weakness of the creature betokens the power of one who is eternal and almighty. For were it not for power, weakness could not be imagined. So we've got a juxtaposition there. Were it
Right.
not for power, I guess sort of a yin and yang, maybe.
Yeah.
Were it not for power, weakness could not be imagined. Thus, the weakness of the creature is evidence of the power of God. Without power, there could be no weakness. This weakness makes it evident that there is a power in the world. Again, in the contingent world, there is poverty. Hence, there must be wealth for there to be poverty in the world. In the contingent world, there is ignorance. Hence, there must be knowledge for there to be ignorance. If there be no knowledge, neither could there be ignorance. For ignorance, get this, ignorance is the non existence of knowledge. And if there were no existence, non existence could not be. I think I just felt a synapse pop in my brain here. If there were no existence, non existence could not be. It is certain that the entire contingent world is subject to an order and a law which it can never disobey. Even man is forced to submit to death, sleep, and other conditions. That is, in certain matters, he is compelled. And this very compulsion implies the existence of one who is all compelling. So long as the contingent world is characterized by dependency, and so long as this dependency is one of its essential requirements, there must be one who, in his own essence, is independent of all things. I'm going to read that again. So long as the contingent world is characterized by dependency, and so long as this dependency is one of its essential requirements, there must be one who, in his own essence, is independent of all things. In the same way, the very existence of a sick person shows that there must be one who is healthy, for without the latter, the existence of the former could not be established. It is therefore evident that there is an eternal and almighty one who is the sum of all perfections, for otherwise he would be even as his creatures. Likewise, throughout the world of existence, the smallest created thing attests to the existence of a creator. For instance, this piece of bread attests that it has a maker. Gracious God, the change in the outward form of the smallest thing proves the existence of a creator. Then how could this vast, boundless universe have created itself and come to exist solely through the mutual interaction of the elements? How patently false is such a notion? These are theoretical arguments adduced from weak souls. I'll say that again. These are theoretical arguments adduced for weak souls. But if the eye of inner vision be opened, 100,000 clear proofs will be seen. Thus, when man feels the indwelling spirit, he is in no need of arguments for its existence. But for those who are deprived of the grace of the Spirit, it is necessary to set forth external arguments. You know, um, this is high level stuff.
Yes.
I see you're putting down your book, but I want to read the whole section again. I get it, but I think I need to read it again. I won't do it here, obviously. I guess it's time for a song.
Yeah, it is.
It is time for a song. What we're going to do today, folks, is more spoken word than song. And what you're about to hear, can you see that easily,
Do
Daryl?
you need to read it?
I
Do you need?
yeah, I need to be able to see the
Oh,
chord
okay.
progression. That's
All
the
right.
thing. You want me to get a little closer to you?
I'm good.
Okay, you sure? This is actually from the Epistle to the Son of the Wolf, but it's also in Gleanings. And it is a very well known passage in Baha'i circles.
Be generous in prosperity and thankful in adversity. Be worthy of the trust of thy neighbor, and look upon him with a bright and friendly face. Be a treasurer to the poor, an admonisher to the rich, an answerer to the cry of the needy, a preserver of the sanctity of thy pledge. Be fair in thy judgment and guarded in thy speech. Be unjust to no man, and show all meekness to all men. Be as a lamp unto them that walk in darkness, a joy to the sorrowful, a sea for the thirsty, a haven for the distressed, an upholder and defender of the victim of oppression. Let integrity and uprightness distinguish all thine acts. Be a home for the stranger, a balm for the suffering, a tower of strength for the fugitive. Be eyes to the blind, and a guiding light to the feet of the erring. Be an ornament to the countenance of truth, a crown to the brow of fidelity, a pillar of the temple of righteousness, a breath of life to the body of mankind, an ensign of the host of justice, a luminary above the horizon of virtue, a dew to the soil of the human heart, an ark on the ocean of knowledge, a sun in the heaven of bounty, a gem on the diadem of wisdom, a shining light in the firmament of thy generation, a fruit upon the tree of humility. We pray, God, protect thee from the heat of jealousy and the cold of hatred. Verily, he is nigh, ready to answer.
You know, as you're reading that, and when I read it, I think about that well-known poem, Desiderata.
Yes.
I would love to see posters of this. I remember seeing when I was in college. I remember seeing a couple of guys had a big poster of Desiderata in there on the wall of their dorm room. And of course, at that time, I knew nothing about the Baha'i faith or Baha'u'llah. But I look at this, and just reading this to me, it's such guidance.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember reading in the Epistle to the Son of the Wolf that Baha'u'llah told this person to all whom all this was written. This is the advice he gave his own sons. And I mean, you think about this: be generous in prosperity. I mean, no need, reciting the whole thing again. It's just such beautifully stated, basic guidance that covers so much of life.
Right.
So much of life. I just think it's an absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite passages from the writings. I just think of it as I don't know. Does it have a name? I just call it "Be Generous." Be generous in prosperity. We've got 20 minutes left, roughly. Not even 20, more like 15. Do you want to read any more, or?
Well, I think it's time that anyone who would care to share a prayer or a song. Is Andy with us today? No, he's not
Andrew's
with us.
not with us today.
Okay, but if there's anyone out there who would care to share a prayer or a song, please feel free to do so at this time.
All right, give me a minute. This is for detachment. Lauded be thy name, O my God. I entreat thee by the fragrances of the raiment of thy grace, which at thy bidding, in conformity with thy desire, were diffused throughout the entire creation, and by the day star of thy will that hath shone brightly through the power of thy might, and of thy sovereignty above the horizon of thy mercy, to blot out from my heart all idle fancies and vain imaginings, that with all my affections I may turn unto thee, O thou Lord of all mankind. I am thy servant and the son of thy servant, O my God. I have laid hold on the handle of thy grace and clung to the cord of thy tender mercy. Ordain for me the good things that are with thee, and nourish me from the table thou dost send down out of the clouds of thy bounty in the heaven of thy favor. Thou in very truth art the Lord of the worlds and the God of all that are in the heavens and on the earth. Baha'u'llah. By the way, I got one question. That passage that you read, where exactly in the Epistle to the Son of the Wolf is it? I mean, do you have a page reference or anything?
Not on this paper here.
Okay.
Well, one thing I will say, I'm glad you asked that question, Terry, because it's actually, if you look on Oceans, I'm sure you can find it if you look in Oceans, but so often it is simply in Gleanings, but it originally was in Epistle to the Son of the Wolf. But I wish I could tell you the paragraph. Simply don't remember. My apologies.
Okay, I'll go ahead and search it myself. I'll probably find it.
All right.
later on. Thank you.
Sure. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Well, then, I guess at this time.
Hello.
Oh, wait a minute. There is someone who would like to share. Kim,
Hi,
please.
Kim.
Glory be to thee, O King of eternity, and the maker of nations, and the fashioner of every moldering bone. I pray thee by thy name, through which thou dost call all mankind unto the horizon of thy majesty and glory, and didst guide thy servants to the court of thy grace and favors. To number me with such as have rid themselves from everything except thyself, and have set themselves towards thee, and have not been kept back by such misfortunes as were decreed by thee, from turning in the direction of thy gifts. I have laid hold, O my Lord, on the handle of thy bounty, and clung steadfastly to the hem of the robe of thy favor. Send down then upon me, out of the clouds of thy generosity, what will purge out from me the remembrance of anyone except thee, and make me able to turn unto him who is the object of the adoration of all mankind, against whom have been arrayed the stirrers of sedition, who have broken thy covenant and disbelieved in thee and in thy signs. Deny me not, O my Lord, the fragrances of thy raiment in thy day, and deprive me not of the breathings of thy revelation at the appearance of the splendors of the light of thy love, of thy face. Powerful art thou to do what pleases thee. Naught can resist thy will, nor frustrate what thou hast proposed by thy power. No God is there but thee, the Almighty, the All-Wise. Baha'u'llah.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Well, then, in that case, as always, we always like to remind people that this is a collaborative effort from a variety of people from different communities. And every time that you decide to join us, you become part of that collaborative effort. Um, and so we'd like to thank you for, you know, finding value in what we do. And whether you are with us in Zoom or whether you stream us through Facebook and during the time of this that we actually do this program, or maybe at a later time, we appreciate your comments and so forth. Yes, so again, we'd like to thank you for that. If you are someone who is interested in gaining access or in learning more about the Baha'i Faith, when I say gaining access to various materials, there are a variety of websites that you can go to and easily access. And Daryl?
They are www.baha'i.us, www.baha'i.org, www.bahaiteachings.org, or you can go to the Clearwater Baha'i website at www.clearwaterbaha'is.org.
And if you happen to be in the area, you can just come on out here to the Clearwater
Absolutely.
Center.
You're
the
more than
Clearwater
welcome to
Center.
come and join us on Sunday morning.
Yes.
Our chef, resident chef, will be here every Sunday to cook breakfast for you if you happen to want to come out and join us.
Yes.
So, and I can attest to the fact that he is doing a great job.
Yes, he is. I'll admit I'm here. I'll have to do this later. Terry's got me curious now. I actually want to find that page that it's on in the Epistle to the Son of the Wolf.
I found it.
Oh,
I did a search of Baha'i Library and I posted it to the chat.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Terry. Thank you very much. Um, I'm sure there's something else to say. I just can't think of what it is. I'm having a senior moment here.
Well, I can always say that, if you happen to be one of those people in this world who is loved and you know that you're loved, then you are truly, truly, truly blessed. And the one thing that you can do to improve the rest of the world and to make sure that we make some kind of progress spiritually, and that's important that we make spiritual progress. The one thing that you can do, it won't cost you anything, is share that love. We really enjoy doing this every week for our audience here and appreciate you coming and joining us. So
Well, I got to say this, man. You
please.
mentioned spiritual progress. I think that sometimes we don't lose sight of that fact, but I think we need to mention it probably more frequently, and not just in this spot, but in all spiritual circles. So often there's this emphasis on, finding, getting our reward in the afterlife and so forth. But that's one thing I have to say uh, about the revelation of Baha'u'llah. And I'm not saying that this isn't somehow stated in different ways in other holy books, but that statement that says that we are created to carry forth an ever advancing civilization, and there are other things that are also said about the importance of basically my words, but spiritual development. We're in this global trend of everybody being physically fit, physically fit, physically fit. Not that it's sticking with everyone, but that's one of the many trends going on. But what about being spiritually? I guess if fit is the right word, but
Yes.
growing
Yes.
spiritually, and not just for some reward that we might get in an afterlife, but to build a positive, ever advancing civilization that serves the needs of all the people on earth, you know, while of course acknowledging the creator. It's so important. And one way that we can help do that we can build ourselves spiritually, is by studying the word. We learn
right.
that, really, when you think about it. We
Educating
we
ourselves,
learn that in
absolutely.
the 7 valleys and 4 valleys. That is one of the ways to get closer to God, is through studying the word. And that's what we do here. And with that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and maybe, I don't know how loud this drum is. Let me make sure it's not. I think it's really loud. Let me see. Good thing I turned it down.
Thank you all for joining us.
It is incumbent on every man in this day to hold fast unto whatsoever will promote the interest and exalt the station of all nations and just governments, through each and every one of the verses which the pen of the Most High hath revealed. The doors of love and unity have been unlocked and flung open to the face of men. We have erewhile declared, and our word is the truth, consort with the followers of all religions in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth, whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin. We beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. Be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. Watch over yourselves, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surroundeth you. Let your vision be world embracing, rather than confined to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be world embracing. World embracing. World embracing. Have a good week, folks. Aloha pa. Take care. Hope to see you here next week.